tonight.
Make sure you get out and vote.
Trump battles to win key swing states. Plus, skyrocketing Obamacare premiums prove the president was not telling you the truth about his plan.
We will start by reducing premiums. Your premiums will go down.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is here tonight with reaction to it all.
I'll tell you what, the media, folks, is no good. They're no good.
Then a new study shows the abusively biased liberal news media is in the tank for Hillary Clinton. Tucker Carlson, Monica Crowley, Judge Jeanine Pirro all weigh in. All of that plus the fives, Eric Bolling and Kimberly Guilfoyle on potential voter fraud. Hannity starts right here, right now. And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, there are only 13 days left to stop the Obama-Clinton machine. And brand new polls show the race for the White House is tightening considerably. We'll check in with Newt Gingrich in just a minute. He's here to react. In a newly released Fox News four-way presidential race national poll, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, as you can see, they're separated by only 3 points. And in the all-important swing state of Florida, a brand new Bloomberg poll, well, he has Donald Trump up by 2 points over Hillary Clinton in a four-way race there. He's also, a poll out today has him up by 4 in Ohio and 3 in North Carolina. Now, also tonight, Donald Trump continues to campaign very hard in these key swing states. The GOP nominee was in North Carolina earlier today. Here are some of the highlights.
In 13 days, we are going to win North Carolina. And we are going to win back the White House, believe me. We're going to bring back your jobs that have been taken from you, that have been shipped all over the world, that have been shipped to Mexico. We are going to bring back your jobs, and we are not going to allow these companies to go to Mexico and other countries and take your jobs with them. We're going to stop the jobs from leaving North Carolina. We're going to start making things again in America. We are going to make things again. The jobs theft, and that's what it is, will end.
Now, the liberal-loving Clinton media, the mainstream media, you know, the ones colluding with the campaign, they've declared this election is over before your votes have even been cast or counted. Now, they say it's impossible for Donald Trump to win. I disagree. I don't think they can be further from the truth. Let's take a look at the Hannity big board map. First thing I would say is you got to be able to find your state wherever it happens to be. I forget. I don't have the best history knowledge, but I do remember where most states are. Let's go back first and foremost to 2012. If Donald Trump wants to be president, all of these red states that you see here, he's got to win. That includes Utah, third party, spoiler candidate. Could be a factor there. Hope not. Hope Utah comes around, goes Trump. Arizona, it's been a little close. Latest poll out today, you have Trump up by 3. Colorado, poll shows today that it's a little closer than before, not as solidly blue. We'll get to that in a minute. And then you've got all these other states. But what are the must-win states if Donald Trump wants to be president? Number one, he's got to hold North Carolina. Polls have been very close there. One poll came out today, had him up 3. 2 polls out yesterday had him down 2 and 4 respectively. So North Carolina, if Donald Trump's going to be president, he must win North Carolina. Georgia, some close polls. I don't think it's in play. I don't think Texas is in play. Let's assume for a moment it's not. Now, if Donald Trump wants to be the president of the United States, he's got to take right there. He's got to take Florida. We're assuming he's going to get Georgia. We believe he has to run the table. He's got to get North Carolina 15 electoral votes, or he is not going to be the president of the United States. Now, where are we? We're at 242. How do we possibly get, to the number he needs? The greatest state of all would be Pennsylvania. Let's put that in our back pocket. Iowa is now a must-win state for Donald Trump. Now, you've got Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Any of those 3 would be extremely helpful. The latest Wisconsin poll had him down by 5, but still a difficult path for him, so we won't put that in the Trump column yet. Same with Colorado. Colorado was close. Then Hillary started pulling away. There's a 5-point difference in Colorado as we speak today. But he's got to take Arizona. Must win for Donald Trump. He's got to win it. He's got to win Nevada. Now we're up to 265. How is it possible for Donald Trump to get 5 more electoral votes? There's a couple of ways to do it. He could take New Hampshire polls tightened just late this afternoon to a 4-point race. If Donald Trump takes New Hampshire, 269. What? 269, 269, it goes to Congress. That's a good thing. But see up here, I can't pull it out. There's the 2nd Congressional District of Maine. If he pulls out that district, the magic number 269 goes to 270. Now, let's say he can pull in Colorado, which has been, close in some of the polls. Let's say that Donald Trump can put either Virginia here or Pennsylvania here, or there were a couple of close polls in Minnesota, not likely, but possible, or Wisconsin or Michigan. By the way, you people in Michigan, are you better off under Barack Obama the last 8 years? Do you really want more Hillary? Any of these would be a factor, but this gets you to the magic number. You've got to take Arizona. You've got to hold Utah. You've got to get Nevada. You've obviously got to carry all the other red states. Florida, Ohio, North Carolina must win. Virginia, Pennsylvania, any of these other states are extra. This, New Hampshire, you hold the keys to the kingdom. Those 4 electoral votes, if you take that away, you can go to New Mexico and get the 5 electoral votes there, but that's been trending blue as we have changing demographics. So there is a path to 270, very hard, very tough. He's got to thread a needle, but very possible. Is there a Brexit effect? Joining us now with reaction, the author of Treason, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, what do you think of that analysis?
Well, I think you're largely right. I think Trump could either come very close or he could win by a surprising number of states. Because if you suddenly get a wave effect, there's a poll out, for example, in Minnesota that shows it's 43-41. If he's within 2 points of Hillary right now in Minnesota, he has a real shot at carrying the state. So you start looking around and realizing all this news about Obamacare, and that's what's affecting Minnesota. They have an enormous increase in the cost of Obamacare in Minnesota, so big the governor's talking about a special session of the state legislature to try to find some desperate solution for people who are not going to be able to afford their health insurance. You go state by state, there are a lot of states right now being shaken by the cost of Obamacare, the rising deductibility, and the fact that in a lot of places now, the insurance companies are all leaving. I think there are 600 counties that are down to one insurance company. And I think that kind of stuff jars people, and they say, wait a second, I don't want to continue this with Hillary Clinton if this is what it's going to mean.
The states that are going to be impacted the most, it's going to be over 100% increase. I saw a couple of polls were close in Arizona. Arizona, to me, is a must-win Trump state. But they're going to have a 100+% increase. The promise was keep your doctor, keep your plan, save $2,500 per family per year. The average family already has seen $4,100 in increase in premiums up to this point. Now they're going to have anywhere between 25 and 116% increase in premiums. That's going to affect the people of Minnesota. It's going to affect the people of Wisconsin and Michigan, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida in particular. The elderly fixed income.
I was going to say, Sean, that's why I think the map you've got can actually be broadened out if people start putting 2 and 2 together and realizing, first of all, realizing it's all a lie. That just as Hillary Clinton lied, so did Barack Obama. This stuff's all been a lie. You now know, because he once again spoke out, that the architect of Obamacare actually said, look, it was designed to do this. I think this is the Democrats' first big step towards government-run health insurance by so shattering the private sector that it's not sustainable. So, but it's happening too soon. It's happening now, before the election, and that's why I think you're going to see more states coming into play, not fewer.
And by the way, Hillary sold it the same way Obama did. Keep your doctor, keep your plan, save money. She even compared Obamacare to Hillary Care. Watch this.
It was called Hillary Care before it was called Obamacare, right? I worked hard back in 93 and 94 to get us toward universal health care. I don't want to start over again. I don't want to rip up this accomplishment and begin this contentious debate all over again. So I want to take the Affordable Care Act, I want to defend it, and I want to improve it.
We will start by reducing premiums by as much as $2,500 per family. If you already have health insurance, The only thing that will change under my plan is that we're going to work with your employer to lower your premiums.
And everybody will have lower rates, more, better quality care, and better access.
You can get the same good rates as a group that if you're an employee at a big company you can get right now, which means your premiums will go down.
Millions of real Americans like Jane and Brett Thomas are benefiting from Obamacare every day. Their premiums are lower, their prescriptions are cheaper.
It's one huge, massive government failure that is on a foundation of lies, perpetuated by every Democrat, led by Obama and Hillary Clinton. Fair statement?
Yeah, and I think it's ironic. Bill Clinton said this whole thing is crazy and it can't work. And I thought that was remarkable candor. And I think what we've seen since he said that about 2 weeks ago, we've had so much negative stuff coming out. My only point is these are the kind of real-life personal decisions. I talked to a friend whose premiums will in Minnesota, whose premiums will go up this year, go up $2,400 more than she's already paying. And she just said, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. And so that's why you're going to see, I think, more and more people shy away from Clinton and the spectacle of how bad big government has become.
All right, stay right there. We got to take a break. We have a lot more with Newt Gingrich coming up straight ahead. Also coming up, Project Veritas released another new video, this one exposing some very dirty political tactics used by the Democrats. Also later, a new study shows just how abusively biased and negative the mainstream media is towards Donald Trump and how they're colluding with Hillary Clinton. We'll show you those results and findings, and also you'll get reaction from Tucker Carlson, Monica Crowley, Judge Jeanine Pirro, and much more tonight on Hannity.
U.S. military officials now warning that ISIS is planning more attacks in the West. According to a U.S. lieutenant general, the targets could include parts of Europe, even the United States. He says the terrorists are plotting the attacks from the Syrian city of Raqqa. The intel is adding urgency to coalition plans to take the city back from ISIS. Two powerful earthquakes rocking central Italy, the magnitude 5.4 and 6.1 tremblers damaging churches and buildings. Some people were treated for minor injuries, but there are no reports of deaths. The quakes were actually aftershocks following an August quake that killed nearly 300 people in the area. I'm Lauren Green. Now back to Hannity, and for all your headlines, log on to foxnews.com. You're watching the most powerful name in news, Fox News Channel.
Welcome back to Hannity. Today, Project Veritas released the fourth installment of its investigation into the shady tactics used by the Democratic political operatives to get Hillary Clinton and other Democrats elected on November the 8th. Now, this newly released footage is all about following the money. Watch this.
First thing is, like I said, thank you for the proposal, and I'd like to get the $20,000 across to you. The second call I'm going to make here is to my money guy, and he's going to get in touch with you on how to wire the funds to you.
Okay, we are running out of time, as you know, so we need to do it quick.
He told us to send the check to Americans United for Change.
It was earlier this year that we purchased a shell company called Repulse Bay Limited. It was incorporated in Belize, Central America in 2005.
Next, we opened a bank account in Belize so we could move money around the world anonymously.
Came through in a timely way. Your guy took care of business right away. Yes, indeed.
I just knew it took tricky route through Belize, and I just wanted to make sure that got to you. So good, I'm glad.
The money definitely helped. Shortly after the funds were released, Charles Roth's niece, our journalist, got offered an internship at Creamer's firm, Democracy Partners. Roth's money man, Michael Carlson, requested a meeting with Creamer. Carlson said he was looking for an immigration lawyer with powerful connections for a wealthy client in Syria who wanted to live in the U.S.
Making the phone call, and we're going to record it.
I will try and find a couple of good referrals to you and get back to you pretty quick then, okay?
Fabulous.
Brad Woodhouse, the president of AUFC, the folks we had sent the money to, heard that we were releasing undercover videos exposing their activities. Woodhouse told a journalist that AUFC was going to return the $20,000. He was concerned it might have been an illegal foreign donation.
Now, for the record, Fox cannot independently verify the content of that video. We reached out to all the parties mentioned in the video, and Americans United for Change, they gave us a statement and said what they did is perfectly legal, and said this was another, quote, lie-filled, selectively edited video from a discredited right-wing fringe activist. Back with us now, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Well, they did admit on video that the money came from the Clinton campaign, funneled through the DNC, funneled through this group that go to operatives that foment violence, that they brag about on tape, completing in Chicago and elsewhere, and a massive voter fraud scheme, and then the new developments today. Your reaction? Will this impact the voters?
Look, I think, first of all, where is the FBI? Why isn't the Federal Bureau of Investigation? You have so much evidence here, including deliberate paid operatives trying to foment violence to affect a presidential campaign. I mean, if that's not something the FBI should be looking into, I don't understand how the system works. Second, I think the average voter, and I'm getting this feedback now, for example, from Texas, where there are concerned activists who believe that there is substantial voter fraud underway. And I think you do have a heightened awareness around the country that you have to worry about voter fraud. You have to worry about violence. I mean, again,
more than 24 people in Texas called my radio show and said people vote for Trump, and it switches to Clinton, and then they have to bring the poll person over. Obviously, right, 24 people calling me independently.
Well, I think there's at least one county that's looking to go back to paper ballots because they so distrust their machines. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here that makes this the weirdest election I can remember, and I think. Clearly, you have on the Democratic Party side a willingness to foment violence, a willingness to disrupt meetings, a willingness to intimidate people, and a willingness to break the rules in terms of money. I mean, but this goes back to what to Bob Woodward's statement on Sunday as the leading investigative reporter in the Washington Post, who just said, look, the Clinton operation's corrupt. There's no other word for it. They are corrupt.
Let me go to the latest WikiLeaks. Nobody in the media is following this. The revelations are stunning. The latest, Uma Abedin says Hillary's not right in the head. Podesta and an aide criticizing Clinton's instincts. An aide writing there's just no good answer on the server scandal. Podesta saying Obamacare premium increases are politically deadly. Oh, isn't that great? At least he knows the truth. Cheryl Mills and John Podesta earlier in one of the earlier WikiLeaks dumps had said maybe we shouldn't send the emails between then Secretary of State Clinton and Obama, which would have been obstruction of justice, but they were contemplating it. But we do know that Cheryl Mills wrote we need to clean up the mess because Obama lied when he said that he heard about this through the media, and Podesta calling it a hot mess. And journalists who covered Clinton were invited, some 65 of them, I believe, to Podesta's house and others' house. They're being wined and dined by the Clinton campaign. They saw the vulnerability of the Clinton Foundation and all the pay-to-play issues. I'll keep a lot of this up so our audience can keep reading. It would take me a full hour to expose everything that's here. But as you put it all together day after day, what is your take on it?
Well, look, I mean, first of all, this is a classic example of organized crime. And if it was any other business except politics, we'd all understand this immediately. This is a conspiracy to break the law. It's a conspiracy to subvert justice. It's a conspiracy to block the U.S. government and manipulate the U.S. government. We just began getting things out today, apparently, that Podesta was also going and having dinner with Justice Department officials.
That's right.
While they're investigating Hillary. Now, you know, we all knew about the famous airplane meeting between the Attorney General and the...
Yeah, and Terry McAuliffe paid off one of the guys at the FBI. It's unbelievable.
Right, well, he paid. Actually, what he did is he invested in the campaign of the guy's wife. And what the guy should have done is then recused himself and had nothing to do with this entire investigation.
He was the lead investigator.
But right.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing stinks so badly. I don't remember ever in the history of the Federal Bureau of Investigation the level of discrepancy and corruption that we are seeing. And I think Comey's going to go down in history as the man who corrupted the FBI and crippled the American system of law enforcement.
Well, we also have this...
And that's what you're seeing day after day.
And then we have the enrichment of John Podesta, new evidence that he schemed to hide these Russian-tied assets. you know, one of the things that has been really underreported, the needy Latinos comments, now new comments today. You got another Clinton advisor saying they're going to deploy brown and women pundits and that they could, you know, cultivate this brown. Really? That's how you talk? Earlier ones were misogynistic and racist and anti-Semitic. The very things that Democrats always say Republicans are, WikiLeaks proves they're guilty of. And I don't know if the American people are absorbing it.
Well, first of all, the news media is doing everything it can to avoid covering it. But I think it's getting out there. And I think partly because Trump lays it out. Trump has a huge social network. I think Fox is the only network that's done any serious coverage of much of this. There's been a desperate conspiracy of avoidance by most of the mainstream media because they know that their candidate is sinking into the quicksand.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thank you. And before we go, you can meet Newt Gingrich, get a copy of his brand new book, Treason, this Friday, 7 p.m. at the Foxtail Bookshop. It's in Woodstock, Georgia, his old state. Joining us now, when we come back, a new study shows just how biased, abusively so, the mainstream media really is. You won't believe how much negative coverage is devoted to Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson, Monica Crowley, Judge Jeanine Pirro are next. And later tonight, WikiLeaks releases a new batch of emails allegedly from the inbox of Clinton's campaign chairman. They reveal how her team dealt with the server scandal. One aide said, well, there is no good answer, period. Kimberly Guilfoyle, Eric Bolling of The Five are here.
We will defeat the rigged system and the corrupt media. There is nothing more corrupt than those people. Not all of them, but most of them. They are a corrupt group.
Donald Trump out on the campaign trail attacking the abusively biased liberal media. According to a brand new study by the Media Research Center, well, he's got a good reason to be annoyed. The study found that in the 12 weeks since the conventions in July, get this, 91% of evening newscast coverage was negative towards Trump. Also, we learned from the WikiLeaks email dump about a dinner, John Podesta's house, at 25 journalists allegedly invited to, just days before Hillary announces that she's running for president. The list includes reporters from ABC and the Associated Press and Bloomberg and CBS and CNBC and CNN, MSNBC, NBC, the New York Times, Politico, Reuters, The Hill, The Wall Street Journal, and several others. By the way, nobody from Fox News. I can't believe, was my invitation lost in the mail? Joining us now with reaction, Fox News contributors Tucker Carlson, Monica Crowley, and the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Judge, that doesn't surprise me. The MRC is there, but also WikiLeaks. They had the names of 65 so-called journalists that they're whining and dining, and then the names of all the others that they're colluding with, from Politico, the New York Times, CNBC, CNN, MSNBC. It's all there. I said in 2008, journalism is dead. You're all a bunch of hacks, phonies, liars, and you're corrupt. And they lecture me because I'm honest and I say I give opinion.
You know what this shows, Sean? It shows that there is an octopus of connections. And that's an octopus of connections. Yeah. And it's all related to power and money. And people who are honest are left out. The American public is being left out. Everybody who's an ordinary American is not a part of this game. And for anyone to think that a democratically elected president in the name of Hillary Clinton is going to help you, they're just wrong. And whether it's the media or it's the Department of Justice, the FBI with the email scandal and with the Clinton pay-for-play, this is all corrupt. And I've never thought this before. Sean, I'm so disappointed.
You are so naive. I've always known it's corrupt. I know you have a good heart. You've worked with honest people in your life, but it stinks to high heaven. The only thing I've learned is it's worse than I thought. You know, and Trump's right. Cheryl Atkinson called this Newsgate 2016.
And the gate suffix, actually, Jeanine and I were talking about this behind the scenes. My old boss, former President Richard Nixon, what he did was child's play compared to the range of corruption and collusion that we have seen through this administration. pretty much every day has been an impeachable offense. Every day of the 4 years that Mrs. Clinton was Secretary of State, she was leveraging her public office to enrich herself and empower herself and her family's foundation. Donald Trump is right to point this out, but I would say this. He should be making an even bigger point, which is in this country, we take certain foundations of our system for granted. But under Obama and Clinton, those foundations don't exist anymore. And by that I mean an independent, impartial, and fair Department of Justice, FBI, and a fair, objective press that's only interested in the truth. Without those cornerstones, without an impartial entity to enforce the law evenly, whether it's the FBI, the DOJ, or the press to investigate, we have nothing in this country, Sean.
It's gone.
It's gone. No, I agree. Yeah. And let me tell you, it's a contribution. And they're the biggest donors to the Clinton campaign. And, Tucker, they're so dishonest to the American people. They're being wined and dined and fed, and they're offering edit opportunities. The New York Times, Politico, CNBC offering advice, Univision offering advice. It is rigged. Donald Trump is right. The press is against him. And when he points them out and they get all upset that people turn and boo them, too bad, because they've lied to all the people that are at those rallies.
And you don't even need to go on WikiLeaks to determine that. You can go on Twitter, where every reporter you watch, every reporter whose pieces you read is on there displaying his own opinion, and they're uniformly on one side.
Oh, they're like you
What's
and me
really
and Monica and Judge Jeanine.
Everybody else, I can promise you
Except
that.
we're honest.
What bothers me is not that the press is not objective. They rarely are. It's not that they're liberal. They always have been. It's that they are suddenly siding with power. They're the Praetorian Guard for the establishment. That is a really ominous thing, because they join big business, academia, Hollywood, the tech community, the entire political class. Every power center in the United States is on one side, and the press has joined them. The press is supposed to be the watchdog, keeping them honest, making sure they don't misuse that power, but they aren't.
I got an exit question. All right, so I agree. He's up against the media establishment, the globalist establishment, the Republican establishment, big time, and the Democratic establishment. Is Michael Moore right? Michael Moore, never thought I'd ever quote you, Michael. Anyway, big night tonight. Michael Moore right that the American people are going to put a big middle finger up the face of all of these elites this year.
You know what? I believe that he is right. And when you've got George Stephanopoulos interviewing a woman running for president to whom he gave $75,000 to the campaign and not admitting it, when you've got Donna Brazile sending an email to the Clinton campaign, then the American public knows it's not
big F real. Whatever happened.
I think so. Given the monolithic opposition to Donald Trump, if he pulls this off, this will be a straight-up miracle, but the miracle is in the hands of the American public.
Tucker, last word.
I'll say this for Michael Moore. I don't agree with anything he says, but he's from the industrial Midwest, and so he's seen the downside of these policies from Washington and New York, and at least he sort of cares about the people punished by these policies.
Hey, 95 million Americans out of work. 95 million Americans, 13 million more on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. We doubled the debt. If we either fix it now or we're screwed totally. All right, good to see you all. Coming up, on that optimistic note, newly released emails by WikiLeaks show how Clinton's team tried to deal with their server scandal. We'll check in with Eric Bolling and Kimberly Guilfoyle. That's next. Also later, Trump vows to bring jobs back if elected president. That's what millennial voters want. Part 2 of our interview with that key voting group, our town hall, straight ahead.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
Did you know about Hillary Clinton's use of private email server?
No.
While she was Secretary of State?
No.
Do you think it posed a national security problem?
I don't think it posed a national security problem. I think that it was a mistake that she's acknowledged.
All right, that was Obama last year denying that he knew about Clinton's private email server. But as we showed you last night, emails released by WikiLeaks show that may not be true. Now, Clinton aide Cheryl Mills allegedly wrote after seeing one of the president's interviews, quote, "We need to clean this up." He has emails from her, and they don't say state.gov. Now, another set of emails released today by WikiLeaks show that Clinton aides were trying to figure out ways to explain away the private email server scandal. In one exchange, Felipe Reines wrote, quote, "There's just no good answer." He continued, "We need to gut through the process phase, get them all out there and let the content do the talking." Joining us now with reaction, two of the great co-hosts of the hit show, The Five, Eric Bolling and KG. It's sort of EB and KG, right?
Yes,
like I refer to it.
You're like 2/5 here.
2/5 of the five. All right. So the president did know. He didn't learn about it from press reports as he initially claimed. Interestingly, they also talked about cleaning it up. And at another point, I'll ask the legal side of you, Kimberly, they talked about maybe we shouldn't send them. Now, they were under subpoena, so they had to send them. So there's an obstruction issue that comes up
Obstruction
here.
of justice right there, and it shows a consciousness of guilt. It shows that they had knowledge, that they had intent, and what they were trying to do was cover this up, and specifically they thought they were going to get away with it. And that's why this WikiLeaks is so important in terms of what we find out now. And I mean, even the president was compromised by this whole situation and with Hillary Clinton and why he's fought so hard to try and keep her in play.
Does that factor in, one more question for you, does that factor in to Comey not wanting to pursue it because of the email exchange would have implicated the president, potentially obstruction of justice, and we now have a constitutional crisis because the president knew and lied.
And it would bring the whole house of cards down. So it would be very interesting to know if Comey was aware of that, and I would think that he would be doing this investigation, because you certainly have heard a lot of chatter from the people that work under him about how disappointed, and just really upset about the whole investigation and the eventual outcome and decision to not proceed forward.
And Eric, then why don't they bring up the investigation again? If Comey is learning through WikiLeaks, reopen the investigation, and let's get to the truth here, and let's see if laws were violated, because apparently I think they were.
Yeah, look, the plausible deniability argument, they've done a great job shielding both Hillary Clinton and President Obama. Now, what they're saying is that President Obama didn't recognize that it didn't have .gov at the end of it. Sean, if I send you an email, you would have to look deep and click again to see if I sent it from my Fox News email, from my Fox Business email, or from my private email. And maybe he didn't do it. And there's a fair argument there. I think there's so many other things in the WikiLeaks that we're seeing, some of the Obamacare stuff. There's a lot that gets leaked. I just wish there was the home run WikiLeaks.
What about Neera Tanden, co-chair of Clinton's transition team, complaining in an email exchange with Podesta? Why didn't they get this stuff out 18 months ago? So crazy. Podesta agreed that their refusal to do so was unbelievable. I guess the answer is they wanted to get away with it.
Yeah.
Everybody's acknowledging, they're acknowledging everything we're all saying, except only privately where the public can't see it.
Yeah, they definitely have unclean hands. I mean, look at it. But this just shows that there is collusion here. There's a concerted effort to try to put Hillary Clinton in the White House against all odds and regardless of whatever crimes and misdeeds that she has committed. And that's a huge problem. It's an ethical problem. The fact that they were trying to cover it up. The fact that the president is also linked into this. But at what point is this going to matter where the American people are going to listen and say, hey, this isn't somebody who is suitable or fit to be in the office of the presidency, that has lied and destroyed evidence as well, especially when she was under subpoena.
We had the comment about needy Latinos, but if you go back to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, remember she was hired by Hillary. But those early emails, what did they reveal? They revealed racism, misogyny, sexism, anti-Semitism. Now we have the new WikiLeaks today that talked about, well, we've got to deploy brown and women pundits. Is that how we refer to people of color now?
Wow.
As brown and women pundits to go out there and pressure the New York Times.
Yeah, some of this stuff is very ugly. I think KG hit on something that was, for me, the most egregious act is under congressional subpoena. She still bleached and got rid of 33,000 emails. I mean, if we're finding these types of things in the emails that she decided to turn over, who knows what's hidden behind or gone forever, as Trey Gowdy said, even an act of God can't bring them back. So, I don't know what the legal recourse is of it.
Benghazi emails
so even God can't find them when they use their acid-wash bleach pit.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
That's a problem. I mean, but it does show you one thing, though. These congressional hearings and these congressional subpoenas don't have a lot of teeth.
Yeah,
you can lie to Congress, you can hide stuff, you can destroy documents after they tell you not to.
Take the fifth.
And take the fifth. And you can come back and say, oops, I'm sorry. and there's no recourse.
All right, good to see you both.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, Donald Trump, he vows to bring jobs back if he's elected president. That's what millennial voters want to hear. Part 2 of our millennial town hall with Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Lara Trump. That's straight ahead. Stay with us.
Us, and people are being fired all over the country. Our plants, our factories are leaving us. We won't let your jobs be stolen from you anymore. Not going to happen. So easy. When we stop offshoring to low-wage countries, we raise wages at home, meaning rent and bills become instantly more affordable.
All right, polls show the economy is the most important issue to those under the age of 35. Last week, while in Vegas during our town hall, made up of millennial voters, the audience got a chance to ask Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Lara Trump questions about how Donald plans to shake things up in D.C. Here's part 2 of that town hall. The country will be theirs very soon. And what kind of country are we leaving them? And how important is this election in terms of impacting their future and their children's futures? Let's go to one of our audience members. What's your name?
Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you. What's your question?
So today, 66% of millennials have expressed that they would like to own a small business or be entrepreneurs. Yet, we are stifled by a tough economy that stands in front of us today. My question is, how will a future President Trump address this issue and support young entrepreneurs and aspiring small business owners?
Great question, Tiffany. Thank you. What do you think?
Well, listen, there's a lot of things that are killing small businesses I hear about every day. Right now in the U.S., you have more businesses every year that are closing than opening. You all understand how scary that is. More businesses closing every year than opening in this country. You've got major problems, right? You've got the highest tax nation in the world. You have health care rates that are unaffordable. I mean, I talk to small business owners all the time and say, I have to lay off 3 or 4 employees just because I have to pay for health care costs that have risen so much. We've got regulations that have totally handcuffed business. I mean, business gets handcuffed by our government. In so many other countries, government works to help promote business, to help encourage business, to help businesses develop. We do the exact opposite here. I mean, I talk to businesses all over the country. I was talking to a farmer yesterday, Sean, right? He goes, I spend more time filling out paperwork than I do actually farming. And by the way, that's the same thing in every single industry. We have to stop that. We have to be competitive as a nation again. We have to take down taxes. We have to reduce regulations. We have to bring back the American dream. I mean, the American dream is dying. You see how few people come out of college that can get a job and can get a good-paying job. I mentioned before that median income had been stagnant for the last 15 years. These are scary, scary things, especially for your generation that's just entering a workforce. We need to do a lot better. We just need to do a lot better, Tiffany.
There are 2 big things that I think don't get talked about enough. The 2 greatest periods in this country of economic growth were when John Kennedy was president and Ronald Reagan was president. And they both did the same thing. Rising tide lifts all boats. They dropped the top marginal rates in the case of Reagan from 78% literally down to 28%. And revenues to the government doubled. Don, your dad is talking about lowering the corporate tax rate to 15%, which would be one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the industrialized world.
Correct.
Repatriating, meaning there's all these multinational corporations.
Yeah. Well,
they have trillions parked overseas, and he would allow them to bring it back at a low rate so we build factories and manufacturing centers here and give these young people jobs.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, if you have companies that can go elsewhere, they will, because they'll go elsewhere. But then it's so penal to bring it back here. They leave it abroad. They hire people from over there. They put that money into those economies, and they never bring it back here. We want to bring that rate down so that money flows in here. Just think of what we could do with that money, okay? Whether it be just creating additional jobs, whether that means then we could give our kids a better education, because we're, what, number 28, number 30 behind a long list of third world countries that spend a fraction of what we do?
You know how much we spend per student? $11,600.
The most per capita in the world, and we're not even in contention, okay, because of bureaucracy. And that's what these politicians have done. They've put in layers and layers of people. That's why everyone around D.C. has gotten really rich while the rest of the country suffers. They've never done it in practice. It's all theory, but they create problems that they try to then fix. And it's all the same little cadre. And it doesn't matter which side it is. They just, they go in, they go out. That's why my father proposed something really great yesterday, which was term limits. And he also wants to prevent those same people that are close in government to have those connections from then going immediately and lobbying, and especially lobbying for foreign countries. Because we have guys at the highest levels that make millions and millions of dollars a year lobbying for the benefit of countries that aren't America. I mean, they're selling out America for millions. And so, my father said it best yesterday, which is, it's time to drain the swamp in D.C.
Number one trending Twitter. When we come back, we need your help. A very important question of the day. Straight ahead. All right, time for our question of the day. So, does the president need to apologize to you, the American people? He lied to you when he said, oh, I learned about Hillary's email server from this. I lied when I said, keep your doctor, keep your plan, save $2,500 per family a year. Now it's up to $4,100 and rising. Should he apologize? Go to Facebook.com/Sean Hannity, @Sean Hannity on Twitter. Let us know what you think. That's all the time we have left this evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Only 12 days to go as of tomorrow. Thanks for being with us.